Today's topic is memory. Definition: it refers to the acquisition, storage, and retrieval of sensory information. Another definition is it is the ability to recall past events at the conscious or unconscious level. Types of memory: on the basis of how information is stored and recalled, there are two types: implicit memory and explicit memory. Depending upon permanency of storage, memory divided into short term memory, intermediate term memory, and long term memory. First, implicit memory. It is a non declarative or reflexive memory, refers to information about how to perform something. It does not involve processing in the hippocampus. This type of memory builds up slowly through repetition over many trials and is expressed in performance, not in the words. So it is not in the form of speech, okay, it is not in a verbal form, okay, but it is in the form of skills, habits, like motor skills, like typing, writing, painting, etc., and any habits. So it is implicit memory. So it is also known as a procedural memory, skills and habits, okay. So there is an involvement of basal ganglia, okay. Now this type of memory acquired through non-associative learning and associative learning. So we have already discussed this thing in lecture of learning, habituation and sensitization, okay. And associative learning, there is a classical conditioning and operant conditioning. Now, involvement of different brain regions. Memory acquired through fear conditioning. So there is a emotional component. So involvement of amygdala, okay. Memory acquired through operant conditioning. There is involvement of striatum and cerebellum. Memory acquired through classical conditioning, sensitization and habituation. It involves changes in sensory and motor system involved in learning. Mechanism of implicit memory. Habituation. It involves activity dependent presynaptic depression of synaptic transmission resulting from the decrease in neurotransmitter release at the synapses, okay. So this is mechanism of implicit memory, habituation. Sensitization, another mechanism for this memory, involves presynaptic facilitation of synaptic transmission, which is associated with increased release of neurotransmitter from the axonal ending of the sensory neuron. Classical conditioning, it involves presynaptic facilitation of synaptic transmission that is dependent on activity in both presynaptic and postsynaptic cell. Now, mechanism of long-term storage of implicit memory. The process by which transient short-term memory is converted into stable long-term memory is known as a consolidation. It involves three processes: gene expression, new protein synthesis, and growth of synaptic connection. Molecular biological analysis of long-term storage of implicit memory reveal that it involves cyclic AMP protein kinase A and mitogen activated protein kinases and CRAB, that is cyclic AMP response element binding protein pathway. Now explicit memory, another type of memory. It is a declarative or recognition type of memory. It refers to factual knowledge of people, places and things and what these facts mean. This is recalled by deliberate conscious effort, highly flexible and involves pieces of information. It is further classified into semantic memory and episodic memory. Okay, so explicit memory. Okay, so there is a role of medial temporal lobe, part of diencephalon. So it is about the facts. Okay, it is semantic and about the episode or any events. Okay, so that is episodic memory. Now first, semantic or factual memory, form of long-term explicit memory that embraces knowledge of object, facts and concept as well as words and their meaning. It includes the naming of object, definition of spoken words and verbal fluency. Semantic memory is stored in different association cortices. For example, the word alarm clock brings its features in our mind from our stored memory as visual memory, like shape of the means alarm clock. In the alarm clock there is a needles, there is a markings. Okay, so this type of information stored as a visual memory. And ringing of alarm, okay, so that sound stored as a auditory memory. And somatosensory memory, it is a for example, if alarm is made up of plastic material or wooden material having a transparent glass, okay, so this type of information stored as a somatosensory memory. Okay, now a damage to specific cortical areas leads to loss of specific information. Associative visual agnosia, damage to posterior parietal cortex leads to this condition. Patient cannot name object but can identify them by selecting the correct drawing and can reproduce detailed drawing of the object. Then another terminology is appreciative visual agnosia. Patients are unable to draw object but they can name them if appropriate perceptual cues are available. And damage to occipital lobes and surrounding regions leads to this condition. Now, episodic memory or autobiographical memory. It refers to memory of events and personal experiences. It is stored in association areas of prefrontal cortex, and these areas work with other areas of neocortex to allow recollection of when and where a past event occurred. Now, mechanism of explicit memory. So 4 type of processing occurs in this memory: encoding, consolidation, storage and retrieval. Mechanism of short-term explicit memory. First, encoding. It refers to process by which newly learned information is attended to and processed when first encountered. So this is neural substrate for encoding of explicit memory. Okay. So here sensory information is first acquired through processing in one or more of 3 polymodal association cortices like prefrontal, limbic, parieto-occipital, temporal cortices that synthesize visual, auditory and somatic information. Now from this polymodal association cortices, information is conveyed in series to parahippocampal and perihenal cortex, then to the iterhonial cortex, the dentate gyrus, and then hippocampus, and then cerebellum, and finally back to the iterhonial cortex. From iterhonial cortex, information sent back to parahippocampal and perihenal cortex, and finally back to polymodal association areas of neocortex. Now, exact physiological process in neural substrate associated with the storage of short-term explicit memory. So it is mainly occur in hippocampus. Okay, so there is a continuous neural activity in reverberating circuit. Okay, so it is like a reverberation. Okay, reverberating circuit. Activation of synapses on presynaptic terminal that typically result in prolonged facilitation, it is also known as a long-term potentiation, and prolonged inhibition, long-term depression. And another mechanism is accumulation of calcium in axon terminals may eventually lead to enhanced synaptic output from the terminal. Okay, so this is the area showing amygdala, entorhinal cortex, okay, perianal cortex, and hippocampal dental gyrus. Okay, so this processing occur in this area. Okay, so entorhinal cortex here, this is perianal cortex, okay, this is hippocampus. Okay, so in this area this processing occurs. So physiological process, as we have discussed, that continuous neural activity occur in reverberating circuit, and there is a activation of synapse on presynaptic terminal that result in prolonged facilitation known as a long-term potentiation, or prolonged inhibition means long-term depression. And third mechanism is accumulation of calcium in axon terminal eventually lead to enhanced synaptic output from the terminal. So what is LTP, long-term potentiation? It is initiated by increase in intracellular calcium level in the postsynaptic neuron. In this, there is an increased excitability and change in intracellular protein formation by repeated synaptic stimulation. In LTP, initially second messenger leads to phosphorylation of number of proteins and then activation of intracellular enzyme, and there is a altered neuronal excitability. In later stage of LTP, synaptic connection between neuron increases. Now it occurs in hippocampus. Long-term potentiation occur in hippocampus. Now hippocampal LTP, there are two types: Mosey fiber LTP and Schaffer collateral LTP. Mosey fiber LTP is an NMDA independent, means N-methyl D-aspartate receptor, independent of this receptor. Now this type of receptor is a glutamate receptor, an ion channel protein found in the nerve cell, and it is mediated by presynaptic mechanism that involve cyclic AMP. Another mechanism of hippocampal LTP is a Schaffer collateral LTP, initiated by increased intracellular calcium in postsynaptic neuron, and it depends on NMDA receptor. Okay, so this is activated NMDA receptor. Okay, so it increases the calcium entry, increases the calcium level at the postsynaptic neuron. Now long-term depression was first described in hippocampus and then all the fibers of as for LTP. It is opposite to long-term potentiation. There is a decrease in a synaptic strength. In cerebellum, LTD requires phosphorylation of GLUR2 subunit of AMPA, that is alpha amino 3 hydroxy 5 methyl isoxazole 4-propionic acid receptor, which may be involved in motor learning. So this is long-term depression. Now mechanism of intermediate long-term memory. It results from temporary chemical or physical changes in either presynaptic or postsynaptic membrane that can persist for a few minutes to several weeks. Now what is physiological process for this memory? Stimulation of facility terminal at the same time activation of another sensory input causes the serotonin release. Now this serotonin, stimulation of serotonin receptor activates the adenyl cyclase. It leads to formation of cyclic AMP. There is a release of protein kinase, and it leads to phosphorylation of protein that block the potassium channel. And now after blocking this potassium channel, increase neurotransmitter release from sensory terminal and thereby facilitating transmission at this synapse. Now mechanism of long-term memory. Consolidation of memory. It refers to those processes that alter the newly stored and still labile information so as to make it more stable for long-term storage. So this is known as a consolidation of memory. Time required for consolidation 5 to 10 minutes for minimal consolidation, 1 or more hours for strong consolidation, and in this time is not allowed, if this time is not allowed, then short term memory is completely forgotten. So we require rehearsal mechanism. Rehearsal of same information again and again in the mind potentiate the transfer from short term to long term memory. Rehearsal mechanism is thought to represent the consolidation process. Process of consolidation. It involves the expression of genes and synthesis of new proteins, giving rise to structural changes that store memory stably over the time. So what are the structural changes? Of course, there is an increase in the number of synaptic vesicle release site. There is an increase in number of available synaptic vesicle. There is an increased number of synaptic terminals, and there is a changes in shape or number of postsynaptic terminal. So these are the structural changes occur in consolidation process. Then storage of memory. It refers to mechanism and sites by which memory is retained over time. Neural substrate for long-term storage memory. While the encoding process for short-term memory, short-term explicit memory involves the hippocampus, long-term memories are stored in various parts of neocortex. Visual, auditory, olfactory memories are stored in concerned cortical regions. Now, retrieval of memory. It refers to those processes that permit the recall and use of stored information. Retrieval involves bringing different kinds of information together that are stored separately in different storage sites. For example, memory of vivid scene can be evoked not only by similar scene but also by sound or smell associated with the scene. Working memory. Both the initial encoding and the ultimate recall of explicit memory are thought to require recruitment of stored information into spatial short-term memory known as a working memory. Component of working memory: attentional control system and rehearsal system. And rehearsal system further include articulatory loop and visuospatial sketchpad. So now what is attention control system for working memory? Actively focuses perception on specific event in the environment. It is located in prefrontal cortex and regulates the information flow to two rehearsal systems that are thought to maintain memory for the temporary use. Rehearsal system, auditory loop. It is storage system with rapidly decaying memory trace where memory for words and numbers can be maintained by subvocal speech. This system allows one to hold in mind through repetition, for example, new phone number as one prepares to dial it. And another is visuospatial sketchpad. It represents both the visual properties and spatial location of object to be remembered. This system allows one to store image of the face of person one meets at dinner party. The two rehearsal memory systems are thought to be located in different parts of the posterior association cortices. So this was about the working memory. Now intercortical transport of memory. Through the corpus callosum and the commissural fibers, okay, this transfer occurs. If this fiber are cut, then no memory transfer occurs. If animally shown and taught some task with one eye, other eye blindfolded, then blindfold is transferred to the other eye. The animal remembers the task and can perform it. But if optic chiasma and corpus callosum is cut, it cannot perform the task as it cannot remember what has been learned with other eye. This is known as a split brain animal. Now role of cholinergic neuron in memory. Acetylcholine, it is a cholinergic neurotransmitter, major transmitter in learning and memory. Cholinergic neuron present plenty in number in basal forebrain region. It is projected to hippocampus and different part of the cortex. Cholinergic fiber are also main projecting neuron in brainstem reticular formation. So loss of cortical and subcortical cholinergic neurons, especially in basal forebrain, is associated with the dementia. So dementia is an impairment of memory, abstract thinking and judgment. Now stagnantness of familiarity. Inappropriate feeling and familiarity with the new events or surrounding is clinically known as a deja vu phenomena. It is a French word means already seen. This may occur in a normal individual. Usually occur as an aura that precedes the onset of temporal lobe epilepsy. Cause stimulation of some parts of the temporal lobe causes change in interpretation of one's surrounding. So there are different type of learning and memory, explicit and implicit. Okay, explicit memory, which is processing mainly medial temporal lobe and diencephalon, part of diencephalon. So explicit memory, there are two types: semantic and episodic. Semantic related with the facts and episodic with the events. Implicit memory includes procedural memory, classical conditioning. Okay, it is occur in cerebellum, and emotional response mainly in amygdala. Okay, and procedural memory related with the skill and habits. Okay, this occurring means processing occurring basal ganglia. Okay, so this is a summary of learning and memory. So short-term memory mainly stored in hippocampus, working memory in prefrontal cortex, and long-term memory in neocortex. Now applied aspect. Amnesia, it is a loss of memory. Two types of amnesia: antegrade and a retrograde amnesia. Antegrade means inability of individual to establish a new long-term memories of those type of information that form the basis of intelligence. It is occurring lesion of hippocampus. Retrograde, inability to individual to recall past memories. It occurs in lesion involving the temporal lobe. Senile dementia, it refers to clinical syndrome in elderly people that is characterized by progressive impairment of memory and cognitive capacities. Common cause of dementia: Alzheimer's disease, cerebrovascular disease, Lewy body dementia, Parkinsonism, and prion disease. So what is Lewy body dementia? It is a disease associated with the abnormal deposit of protein called alpha synuclein in the brain, and this deposit called Lewy bodies affect chemical in the brain, whose changes in turn can lead to problems with thinking, movement and behavior and mood. And prion disease or transmissible spongiform encephalitis are a family of rare progressive neurodegenerative disorders that affect both humans and animals. Now Alzheimer disease. Now it is a prototypical neurodegenerative disease, affect neuron in neocortex, hippocampus, amygdala, anterior thalamus and raphe nucleus. Now it is associated with the cytoskeletal abnormalities in affected nerve cell. There is a accumulation of neurofibrillary tangles in neuronal cytoplasm, and there is a amyloid plaque. It is a fibrillar peptides deposits are one of the hallmark of Alzheimer's disease. Characteristic features of this disease: usually patient is above 50 years, progressive development of forgetfulness, initially loss of short-term memory and later followed by the other cognitive function. Impairment in other areas of cognition like a language language, then problem solving, judgment, calculation, attention and perception. Dysnomia, forgetting words, especially names. Psychiatric symptoms begin to appear as a disease progresses. Extrapyramidal and akinetic hypertonic symptoms also appear in later stages. There may occur loss of spatial orientation. Finally, patient has to lead a vegetative life without memory and without thinking power, speechless, inability to understand anything. And there is a apraxia, inability to perform voluntary movements. And agnesia, inability to recognize object in spite of intact sensory modality. Treatment: no effective treatment. Physiostigmine, it inhibits the cholinesterase, cause some improvement. Okay, so it increases the level of acetylcholine, physiostigmine. Treatment of associated symptoms such as a depression, agitation, sleep disorder, hallucination and delusion. Thank you.